Which country has been responsible for the most deaths? Let's go through the top 10 for the past 500 or so years. Number 10 is the Ottoman Empire, which spanned almost the entirety of the Mediterranean Sea. I used ChatGPT to compile and sum up a list of all the casualties. A World One states a toll of 2.5 million casualties at the hands of the Ottomans. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but the Armenian genocide, it is something that the Turkish government still does not admit to doing. Number 9 is the Portuguese Empire, which spanned all of Brazil, parts of Africa, and at one point a little bit of India. Their highest toll stems from the colonization of Brazil, resulting in millions of indigenous deaths, and it looks like the death toll exceeded 5 million. Number 8 is Belgium, which was pretty much gifted by England and France out of some kind of pity for King Leopold the Congo. And Leopold became one of the worst rulers in human history, resulting in 10 to 15 million deaths of the Congo Free State and hundreds of thousands in the Belgian Congo. So the total death toll of the Belgian Empire ranges from 10 to 15 million. Number 7 is the French Empire, which at its zenith spanned about 1/3 of North America, about 1/4 of Africa, and little bits of Asia in Indochina and some parts of India in the very beginning. Their highest death toll in a single war was the Napoleonic Wars, which resulted in over 6 million deaths. The French Wars of Religion totaled about 4 million people during the 16 and 1700s, which was primarily between the Huguenots, who were French Protestants, and the Catholics. The Huguenots lost. Now, two details. The colonial rule of Africa and in Asia I've seen were higher than 1 and 2 million, and some have said lower than 1 and 2 million. In my opinion, these two death tolls are conservative estimates, and even including that, we have over 17 million deaths at the hands of the French. At number 6, we have the Japanese Empire, while at its zenith during World War II, controlled most of Southeastern Asia. By far, they have caused the greatest amount of death tolls in the Second Sino-Japanese War, which took place right before and during World War II, which resulted in 20 million deaths. While Germany by far has the most horrendous reputation during World War II, I believe the Nanjing Massacre and everything else that was done by the Japanese is equivalent. At 5, we have the Spanish Empire, which had over 50% of North America and 65% of South America, along with the Philippines and a few other trading posts along from Africa to Asia. They also controlled some of the largest territories in all of Europe, excluding Russia, because they married into the Habsburg family for quite some time. Their colonization of the Americas resulted in approximately 30 million deaths, and the transatlantic slave trade killed untold millions. We don't actually have the exact numbers. The overall estimate likely exceeds about 35 million. At number 4, we have the British Empire, which at its zenith controlled the most land on Earth ever, even more than the Mongolians. They had all of Canada, a line that went down from the northernmost to the southernmost part of Africa. They controlled all of Australia and, of course, India. The largest death toll that the British are indisputably responsible for is the colonization of India, resulting in over 25 million deaths. And most of that was because of British incompetence, which led to famines. The colonization of the Americas was about 10 million, and the people that were lost in the transatlantic slave trade totaled 6 million, totaling over 49 million estimated deaths. For number 3, we have the United States, which everyone knows America's contiguous borders, but the way the dollar has infiltrated everywhere, I just could say that it extends its power to the whole world. And you might be thinking, hey, if you add up all the estimates in America's history, it's actually not that much. It's like maybe close to 10 million. And that's even with all of our interventions and proxy wars that we have caused. And people might even concede that we are responsible for 3 million deaths in Vietnam and 3 million also in Korea. But when you add the near eradication of the Native American population in America, which totaled between 90% or 95% of their whole population, about 55 million people, then you have 64 million deaths that can be laid at America's feet. And I am going to put Russia neck and neck with America at number 3. Excluding what happened in World War II, which I lay primarily at Germany's feet, you could see by far the highest death toll was Stalin purges, which got rid of 20 million Soviet citizens. With that, you have a total of 43 million people, which is less than the American and the British. But remember, the first few weeks of World War II, Russia's leader Stalin did absolutely nothing. He just got drunk at his summer home while millions of Russians of troops were just getting killed. And the tactics that were chosen by Russia's generals was just human wave tactics. This resulted in about 27 million Russian deaths, which would bring this number closer to 70 million. And since I can't properly quantify how many millions of more Russian deaths were caused by the idiocy of Russian leadership, I just think this number is higher than 43 million, but less than 70 million. Number 2 is going to make a lot of people mad, but Germany. They are responsible 100% for World War II, and in my opinion, all of the deaths by that war can be laid at Germany's feet. The total death toll of World War II is 85 million people. That is their highest toll, and that totals 116 million deaths. And then number 1 is China. Now, the unique thing about this country is most of the deaths were done to their own people. There was the Ming rebelling against the Qing dynasty in the late 1600s, which totaled in 25 million deaths. Then the Taiping rebellion in the late 1800s, leading up to 30 million. There was the Chinese Civil War, which broke out in 1927 and technically ended in 1949, resulting in 10 million deaths. The Great Leap Forward, which resulted in almost 60 million deaths by famine. This 45 million is actually a lowball estimate. If you add all of this up, you have a death toll of 125 million people. All of them within China. You may be wondering, why didn't I mention Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire? Funny thing is, when you talk about how much land he conquered, you have a lot of Chinese people saying, hey, he was Chinese. But when you talk about all the deaths he was responsible for, people go, no, he wasn't Chinese, he was Mongolian. The Mongols laid waste to the Khwarizmid Empire, which was Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Iran. Then, of course, most of China. They destroyed Persia. They even made it into Eastern Europe. And of course, the Central Asian conquest. I've read death toll estimates from as low as 25 million to about 75 million at the hands of the Mongol Empire. According to ChatGPT, it says as high as 60 million. Let's be conservative, go there. When Genghis Khan invaded, it was around the year 1240, 1250. The world population was 235 million people. Meaning if he killed 60 million people, that's over 25% of the world's population. And if it was only 25 million, that's still close to 10% of the entire planet's human population. That's not something to be proud of. That is a dark stain on human civilization because he laid waste to all of the greatest cultures of the time. You may have been curious as to why I did not mention the Dutch. It's simply because they couldn't make it into the top 10. They were responsible for at most about 1 million deaths in their empire's history. I really hope that nobody actually likes this post, but I do wish for it to be informative and maybe to uncover a lot of the BS that's in front of you. My name is the Geo Husar, and guys, comment to me what is on your mind. Thanks for watching.